Good morning, everyone. Welcome to International Economics, one of the most exciting and globally relevant areas of economics. I am Dr. Arun Kumar Nandi, Associate Professor of Economics, Chakdaha College, University of Kalyani. This is a major course for the sixth semester student under the UG Economics program as per NEP 2020. In this course, we will understand why nations trade, how trade benefits countries, how exchange rates are determined, and how institutions like World Trade Organization shape global trade policies. Today, we begin Unit 1, that is Introduction, where we will understand the scope of international economics, the meaning of trade, and the important concept of arbitrage. This lecture will build the foundation for all advanced theories that we will study later, including comparative advantage, excellent theory, trade policy, exchange rate determination, and WTO frameworks. I encourage you to listen carefully and try to connect today's basic concept with real world global trade examples. Let us begin our journey into international economics. International economics is the branch of economics that studies economic relationship between countries. It examines trade in goods, trade in services, capital flows, for example, foreign direct investment and portfolio investment, exchange rate determination, balance of payments, and role of global institutions like World Bank, International Monetary Fund, World Trade Organizations, and so on. Unlike microeconomics, which studies individual markets, and macroeconomics, which studies national income and inflation, international economics connects national economies to the global economy. In simple words, it studies how countries interact economically. But the natural question is, why do countries interact at all? Why do not they produce everything themselves? Countries trade because they are different from each other. They differ in natural resources, in technology. There are differences in factory environments, differences in skill and productivity, and in their consumer preferences. For example, Saudi Arabia exports oil because it has abundant oil reserves. Germany exports machinery due to advanced technology. India exports IT services because of skilled human capital. Since no country is completely self-sufficient, trade becomes necessary. Trade allows countries to specialize and increase overall welfare. To understand this better, let us first define what trade actually means. Trade simply means exchange of goods and services. There are two types. First, domestic trade, which exchange within a country. Second, international trade, exchange between countries. International trade is more complex because it involves currency conversion, tariffs and quotas, trade regulations, exchange rate fluctuations. So international trade is not just exchange, it is exchange across borders with additional institutional and financial factors. Now we move to one of the most important concepts in international economics, that is arbitrage. Arbitrage means buying a product in a market where the price is low and selling it in another market where the price is high. It exploits price differences between markets. For example, if wheat costs rupees 20 per kg in country A and rupees 30 per kg in country B, traders will buy wheat from country A and sell it in country B to earn profit. This process continues as long as price differences exist. Arbitrage is one of the fundamental driving forces behind international trade. But what happens when arbitrage continues? Let us examine its effect. When traders start buying from the low price country, demand in that country increases. As demand increases, price also rises. In the high price country, supply increases because imports are coming in. As supply increases, price falls. Eventually, the price gap between the two countries reduces. This process is called price equalization. So arbitrage pushes markets towards equilibrium. This simple idea forms the base of advanced trade theories. Now, let us look at different forms of international trade. There are four main types of international trade. First, inter-industry trade, when countries exchange completely different goods. For example, India exports textiles and import machinery. Second, intra-industry trade, when countries exchange similar goods. For example, Germany exports BMW cars and imports Toyota cars. Third, trade in intermediate goods, that is, trade in parts and components. Fourth, trade in services, most important, such as IT services, tourism, banking, and education. Modern trade is increasingly service-based and component-based. This brings us to a very important modern concept, that is global supply chain. In the modern trade world, production is no longer done in one country. Instead, production is fragmented across multiple countries. For example, a smartphone may be designed in USA, assembled in China, use chips from Taiwan, and software developed in India. This system is called a global supply chain or global value chain. Countries now specialized in tasks or stages of production, not entire products. This is a major transformation in global trade. Over time, trade patterns themselves have changed significantly. Let us see how. Historically, trade began with agricultural goods. Then manufacturing dominated global trade. Today, service and digital trade are growing rapidly. Emerging economies like China and India have increased their share in global trade. Digital platforms, e-governance, and outsourcing have reshaped trade flows. Thus, global trade is dynamic and constantly evolving. Now, let us quickly summarize what we have learned today. In today's lecture, we discussed the scope of international economics, why countries trade, the concept of arbitrage, types of international trade, global supply chains, and changing pattern of global trade. These ideas form the foundation for understanding comparative advantage and gains from trade, which we will study in the next lecture. In our next class, we will discuss the production possibility frontier and community indifference curves in a closed economy. Thank you. Before we conclude, here is a quick questions MCQ. Arbitrage results in price equalization. Thank you all.